Well,
Everybody ready?
Yeah.
All right, welcome to the first of hopefully many episodes of the Zone All Access, hosted by Rex at the Sports Center here. The purpose of the broadcast are to talk about the fun of sports and to get more students out on the courts and fields. I was hesitant at first to ask Rex about doing a show here at the Sports Center, but he called me out of the blue and we spoke about it and agreed on doing it. So a very special thank you goes out to Rex here and the Sports Center. The Sports Center is a great place to get shirts printed, trophies, plaques, your signage, and of course all the sports gear your athlete needs. Also, thank you to First Century Bank for supplying our communications today. I have Coach Christopher Herrell from CHS and Bulldog baseball player Hunter Greer to talk about baseball. Thanks for coming out, guys. All right, Rex, you want to say something?
No. Go ahead.
All right, the first couple questions will be for you, Coach.
All right.
Describe your background, how you got into sports. Did you attend college, anything like that?
I got into sports, as a child. I remember probably my first love was playing baseball. I don't ever remember not there being a time when I wasn't wanting to play t-ball, Little League growing up. I grew up in the Fort Dredge area. I played Harrell Little League, played through with, Matt Robertson, who's the head of Little League over here now. Played for his dad's teams all the way through, and then played high school ball with him as well. I played high school ball, some at J. Frank White Academy, and then I also played at Pie Valley. I went to Fort Ridge High School, played basketball there, but we didn't have a baseball team, so I moved around in the county and played at different schools. I always played for Coach Hamilton in high school. So.
Okay, what was your favorite moment in sports or baseball, or what's your favorite? What stands out to you?
I just enjoyed competing. Really, I played on some really good basketball teams. I played at Fort Ridge. We was able to win district tournaments up there. When I was at Fort Ridge, we even won like the 7th and 8th grade county tournaments back then, and then we won districts in baseball at the academy as well. So it's just fun to win for me.
Okay, when you took over the team, what was your expectations?
I can't say I really had any. I mean, I was as green going in as the players. I'd always coached youth sports, but I've never coached at the high school level. I heard some kind of bad news going in because I knew that Foster's group, when he left, he'd had 8, 9, 10 seniors graduate. I knew we were going to be young, didn't know what kind of experience we were going to have, but I also knew it was getting late in the season. They didn't have a coach, and I knew that I always loved baseball, and baseball is always my favorite sport, and I wanted to get in there and try to compete with these boys, and it's been fun so far.
Okay, are you getting to the point as a coach where you expect to be, or you think you've got a lot to learn?
I've got a lot to learn. I mean, I usually learn something every time we go on the field. I think the players do as well. But like last year, I guess the speed of the game kind of caught me a little bit. I wasn't as prepared as I needed to be. But when you've been out of high school baseball for a while, it's sometimes you don't think about it till you see something. And you're like, oh man, we should have done that different. And then so I think I'll be a better coach this year for the boys. I think we're all already a lot more prepared. We've had more time this year to sit and talk about like defensive strategies, how we're going to pitch people. And last year we just kind of went to the field and went out there and played baseball. This year we've got more of a game plan. Usually everybody knows what they're going to do the day before we get there. But last year we kind of got on the bus and went to the game.
you know, always there's an internal conflict on the team. How do you handle those situations, Coach?
Well, usually I just find out what the problem is, talk to each player individually, and I try to find a common ground between the two. Most of the time, it's two kids playing hard that was only seeing things from their perspective and not understanding that the other guy's trying to. And baseball's a hard game. You know, you're going to fail most of the time in baseball, and that's a really hard thing for these kids to understand. I mean, there's no layups in a baseball game. You've got to go out there and take you at bat.
Is there one particular player that you know you made a difference in and improved his game?
I would say probably Landon Hemphill and probably Caleb Painter. Last year was Landon's first year ever playing baseball. So, you know, he was almost like taking a little leaguer, you know, almost going through teaching him the rules of the game. And he's gotten this year to where he's starting right field for us. He's hitting the ball. And then Caleb, I think Caleb just needed some patience. He knows how to play the game. And he just really wanted a shot to compete. And he's getting that shot this year. And so far he's been stepping up. He pitched for us last night in the scrimmage game, you know, threw 45 pitches and against a really competitive Harlan team and threw good balls.
I know you see in these young men more than they do at this time. You know, high school kids, you know how they are. Talk about what you see in the kids and how's the process of getting that out of the kids?
Right now, we're a very young team. I try not to get my expectations too high. I try to explain to the kids that, you know, every game, you're the same person every day, no matter who you're playing. I said, with the way our schedule is this year, we're going to play some of the best teams in the state. We're going to play some of the lesser teams. And, you know, if you go out and you lose by 10, 15 runs one game, you know, that doesn't make you the worst baseball player that's ever played. And if you show up the next game and beat a team 20-2, we're still the same guy. You know, we didn't turn into Aaron Judge. So just keep playing baseball every day, and the outcome will be what it is.
Do you do anything special for team unity, team spirit? I mean, do you as a coach try to build that in any way?
Yeah, most of our fundraisers that we do, we try to find a way to actually have fun with our fundraisers. We also went down to a UT game there last week. I think the boys really enjoyed that, at going to a UT baseball game. We're going to have a karaoke night up here at Jose's next week. That idea kind of came back to me coming back from the Tennessee game when the boys was singing so loud we couldn't talk at the front of the bus because they were singing so loud in the back of the bus. And I was like, we got to do something with this. So I figured I contacted them up at Jose's and they said, yeah, bring them up here. So
okay, how do you personally, speaking of fundraising and parents and stuff, how do you personally communicate with the parents and the administrators at the school?
Mostly with parents through text message, administrators through emails and text message. You know, they're all busy. I don't work on campus, so that's the easiest way for me. You know, if I see them out, we'll talk about a few things. But, you know, so far with the baseball side, we've not really had any serious issues or anything. So it's mostly just been, you know, email, text message, things like that.
Okay, all of those lines, when a star player breaks the team rules or shows up late, what's your form of discipline? How do you handle that?
To me, everybody's rule is the same. The only thing that we slack on is if the kid's playing a different sport. You know, if we've got kids playing their basketball season, you know, I let them know, hey, you know, during basketball season, your basketball takes priority. I said, if you can come out to practice and take some swings, we're going to work you in a way that you're not going to get hurt. You know, you don't do live pitching, you don't run the bases. You come in and take your cuts against a coach, against a pitching machine. And we've not really had any discipline issues. We've had some issues where, you know, one kid comes in, he's upset and he's throwing back gloves in the dugout and stuff, and you know, I always tell him that's not what we do. but I also understand when you're competing, it gets emotional. So we do the best we can with that. You know, I'm not going to jump on them if it's something they do every now and then, but if it's they can't do it all the time. You know, we put a stop to that.
Are you a statistic-driven or a data-driven coach, and how much do you rely on them for in-game decisions?
I usually I look at the statistics when I'm making the batting lineups and such. I want to look at who's getting on base, who's making solid contact. You know, I want my on-base guys on when the ball's going to be put in play. But we have so many inexperienced players and guys with no stats to go back and look at. A lot of times it's just a feel for how they're hitting in the cages.
Okay. Describe your practice, including your warm-ups. Do you do a fun little twist to warm-ups in practice, or is it all business?
With their practices, I always try to bring some type of competition into it. We haven't hardly gotten any outside practice lately with the rain, the cold, so it's been monotonous batting cage time, but we break it up and we have a good time in there. Usually we have guys hitting in the cages for the first hour with coaches pitching to them, pitching machine, while we have guys throwing bullpens inside for the first hour or so. And then a lot of times the second hour, I'll get a coach to start pitching more competitive to them in the batting cages and have them come in, take a live at bat against a coach and keep points, tally points on like line drives is a point. If we think it's going to be a hit, it's a point. You know, but you can strike out, and we'll actually have like a scrimmage in the batting cage because I want the boys to learn how to compete, not just hit a ball coming out of a coach's hand. I want them to feel some nerves if the game's on the line, you know, and that's the best way I know how to do that.
Okay, stressful. I mean, baseball is a stressful game on the players and particularly the coach. How do you handle the stress of a game?
I try not to let the players see me get stressed, even though, you know, I'm pretty stressed almost the whole game. I try not to show it on the field. I try not to yell at umpires and lose my composure because I can't make them stay composed if I can't keep myself composed.
Okay, along those lines, how do you want the team to be able to handle stress? Like you said, or?
Yeah, I want the team to feel the stress but play through it. I mean, you should be able to take stress and lock in and play better. You know, I expect the players to show up in a competitive game and you know, be locked in for a competitive game versus, you know, if a game's a blowout, one way or the other, you know, I can see a kid taking a bad swing here and there, maybe making a mental mistake, but, you know, to me, you need to, if it's a stressful situation, that's when you got to lock in, do things right.
Right. Describe corrective discipline and motivation. What's the difference of you, and do you use both?
For me, I try to always tell myself these guys, you know, even though they're young men, they're also, you know, kids to me. So when if they do something that's just outside of the norm, something they absolutely shouldn't do, I try to remind myself, you know, it's kids. They're not quite as developed as what some as others are. So, you know, most of our discipline is team style discipline. With you know, the whole team is just kind of starts losing ground, not picking up the dugout, leaving balls on the field. Usually, I don't even have to do discipline because I'll say things like, "Do we pick up the batting cage?" And they're like, "Yeah, everything's picked up." And I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna go up there and see how many baseballs I can find. It'll be a post for baseball, you know, for every baseball I find." And before you know it, can we have 30 seconds? Can we have 30 seconds, coach? And then, you know, and then they come back with 2 or 3 more baseballs. So,
okay, what's your biggest challenge as a coach been, and how have you faced that?
I think the biggest challenge I've had so far is just having inexperienced ball players. It kind of caught me by surprise with the amount of high school baseball players that didn't quite know the basics of the game. I didn't think I'd be teaching freeze on line drives, tag up when the ball's in the outfield to a runner on third. So that kind of threw me a little bit, and I realized I needed to slow down and get really back into the basics of baseball.
How do we get the Little League to teach those fundamentals, for them to be ready for middle school, for middle school to be ready at high school? I mean, what's the process there? Is it just focusing on them?
To me, I think the kids need to get out and play Little League. I think there's a lot of kids that I think Little League's not as important to a lot of people as it used to be. Little League is now seen as the league where you just go to have fun, and if you're not playing travel ball, you're not playing real baseball. But to me, Little League's kind of where it's at for me. That's when you get to compete against the kids and with the kids that you'll be playing with one day. And, I understand travel ball is a really good thing, but these kids need to learn this stuff, and, that they need to play at their local level as well.
Okay. So some course of the season, there's going to be a losing streak. How do you teach the players to handle those losing streaks, or personal streaks, or where they've not got a single, or they're missing balls in the infield and outfield? How do you get in their heads?
That's like I've told Hunter Greer. I've told him several times. I'm like, hey Hunter, you might be 0 for 4 today, but you got to remember who you are. You was hitting the ball last week, you'll hit the ball next week. You can't let a bad game define who you are. You can't let a good game define who you are. Just because you've hit 3 in a row doesn't mean your batting average is 1,000. You gotta keep playing every at bat. Every at bat's got to be a battle for you, or else if you're not striving to get better, you're gonna get worse. That's just how sports work.
Do you incorporate nutrition and stuff like that? And do you try to teach them good choices?
I can't say that I've really dealt with nutrition with them a whole lot. They have they worked out with Mason over the summer.
Well, that helps.
They
Yes.
got a little bit of a weightlifting program with him. Gonna try to extend that more and more. But yeah, we didn't get much into nutrition last year. These guys I guess they eat with chickens and Gatorade. I'm not sure what they get into.
Okay, not wins and losses, but what's your expectations of the team this year?
I'll tell you, like last year we went 5-19. I expect us to win 10 games this year. At least 10 games, maybe more. I feel that we have more pitching this year. I think that's where we struggled last year. If you look back in a lot of our games, we're in the game for 4 innings, and then it's when we have to go to the bullpen. We had competitive pitching early, and we have to go to lesser pitchers or guys that's not as experienced. That's where the game started getting out of hand for us. I feel like we've got a little bit better handle on pitching this year.
Okay, what about team needs? Is there something the community needs to rally around you and give you financially, or donate something to you? What's your needs?
Well, I'm not big on just people handing things out to the baseball program. I think the boys need to learn that we need to do our fundraisers. We need to work for things we get. One thing we are doing right now is we're selling these discount cards. I don't know if, but you can see any player pick these up. It's a good deal. It's got a lot of discounts at local restaurants. Everything on there is local. It's all of our favorite places we eat anyway, and we do this. Like I said, we play T-ball games against the sheriff's department. We got
those are fun.
We've got one coming up this Saturday. I did it once, and I've wanted to do it again ever since, just because it's so much fun doing the karaoke thing. I mean, I tell the guys, there's things we need. It's a lot of the money we're raising is things that we want to have, not always our needs. One of our biggest costs is transportation. We like to take the bus. You have to hire the bus, but I think it builds a team when you ride the bus together. You don't have players showing up to road games late, getting lost. It's just an easier thing for us. But we want to make improvements. We built dugout walls this year, kind of expanded our dugouts a little bit. We got more grass seed down on the field. We leveled the outfield a lot more this year. Put nearly $1,000 worth of dirt on the outfield. And as I tell the players, you got to work to get better. You got to work on your facilities to make your facilities better as well.
Okay, talk about the fun of baseball, and maybe include your favorite coaching moment so far.
to me, baseball's fun. Yeah, it's not always fun when you lose. If you're in a losing streak, baseball's not fun there. And I've told the guys, I feel like my job as a coach isn't just to go out and try to win every single game we play and worry about that win-loss record. You have to put fun in the baseball for the kids, or the program won't get where it needs to be. We want guys to come out from Little League and want to be high school players, but they're not going to do it if they're not having fun in Little League. If like I've heard the saying that players don't quit baseball, players will quit coaches or situations. And, I firmly believe that. I've never been on a baseball field and didn't have a good time unless someone's actions made it not a good time. So, but yeah, we try to throw a lot of fun in there. Like I said, with their fundraisers, we try to do fun fundraisers. We try to have fun practices. I tell the guys, I'm like, hey, if we lock in and have a good practice, we'll do something fun on Friday. That's usually what we do is we'll scrimmage through the week. If we have a good week of practices, we'll do something fun, a scrimmage game against ourselves or something on Fridays.
Yeah. If there's a student in the hallways of the high school and he's thinking about coming out and giving it a try, what would you say to him?
I'd say contact a baseball player. They'll get you in touch with me. Like I said, once we're into the season this year, but there's always next year. And we practice baseball through the summer. If you want to come out and practice baseball during the summer, it's not something you really have to commit to right there. I use baseball kind of as almost like an open facility type thing where they can come out, meet me, get swings, meet the players. They're not committed to anything because we actually have our tryouts in the fall. That way, if we have any new students transfer in or whatever, if they didn't get passed over during summer ball.
All right, let's move on to Hunter. Okay, describe your baseball career, and when did you start, and how long have you been playing?
My baseball career, it's been kind of wild at times. I've had a lot of ups and a lot of downs, but when you're doing so well, that's what makes the game so fun. And it's easy when you're not doing so good to get down on yourself and beat yourself up, but that's part of the game, because there's major leaguers who they'll go on stretches where they go 0 for 4 strikeouts a night, and they make $250 million a year. So, you just can't let it get you down. And I've learned that a lot, and it's very humbling. But I've been playing ever since T-ball all the way up to now. It's my senior year, but it's been a wild ride. I've had a lot of fun moments and a lot of not so fun moments, but that's part of the game. And
Have you played other sports?
yeah, I've been.
Which I know.
I played basketball and baseball pretty much my whole life ever since I was little, and I've had a lot of fun doing both. It's been a good journey for it.
Yeah. What position do you feel comfortable playing on the baseball field? Most comfortable?
Well, it doesn't really matter to me. Wherever coach wants me, that's where I'll go. I like to play any position, but if coach thinks there's a certain position that I'll help the team most at, that's what I'll work towards and try to be the best version of myself at.
Okay, what's your thoughts of a goal for the team this season?
The goal for the team, I'd say, is growth, because right now we have a lot of young guys, and we're getting into scrimmages. We got our first game next week, and it's been a little bit rough for some of them at the start, but they're really good ball players, and they're just getting into it. And it's the same way for me. I come from basketball straight to baseball. It's been a little difficult getting readjusted, but as the season goes on, we'll get better and better and with more experience.
Okay, to compete with yourself, what's a goal? What goals do you have for this season?
My goals for this season, to be the best version of myself, be a better leader. At times, it's easy to get down on yourself, and it's hard to be a good leader when things aren't going right, but that's part of leadership. Even when things aren't going right, a leader's a leader. You have to do what you have to do to help the team, and that's going to be my goal this year. No matter how bad or good I'm doing, I'm always going to try to be a positive influence for the other members of the team, because a lot of them's younger than I am, and they have more years in baseball, and this is my last one. So if there's anything I can say or do that'll help them out.
That's good. How do you handle pressure in game situations?
in-game situations, I mean,
Now that's personal to you. How do you handle that?
I take a deep breath, I sit back, I realize that I'm going to do it like it's something that has to be done, and it's good to feel nerves, but I'm used to it now pretty much. My first couple years of high school baseball, I didn't see the field a ton, but these last two, it's been getting me more experience in those in-game situations where the pressure's on, and I feel like I'm getting used to that with every game.
Okay, what are your strengths as a player?
My strengths as a player. Well, leadership would probably be the biggest strength that any player could have, because I mean, you have to be a leader to the team, because that's what you have to be, somebody that they look up to, especially as an upperclassman. They need somebody to direct them and help guide them. I know coach will do that, but I feel obligated to have a responsibility to do that too, since I'm a captain. So leadership would probably be the best strength that I have.
What area of your game do you need to improve on?
The area of the game I need to improve on most is definitely hitting the baseball. At times, I've gone on stretches where I can get a few hits over a few games. I feel myself doing good, but then at other times, my mechanics will get messed up, and I'll go back to bad habits, swinging the bat, and it'll get you a little down. But it's just part of baseball. You have to correct it and just move on. Every game's a new game, and you just have to forget about the last one.
What's the best way to handle criticism from a teammate? Talk to the younger generation here.
To handle criticism from a teammate. Well, I mean, there is constructive criticism, and that's not just in baseball, that's in life. Somebody's telling you something that's trying to help you, and I mean, my best advice is to listen to them on that, because if they're trying to help you and put you in a better position for yourself, then you should listen, take that advice, because that's what's going to help you grow as a player, as a person.
You touched on leadership. Give me one example of where you took leadership of the team.
At times when other players are getting down on themselves and they're feeling the pressure of baseball, which I've been there too. I've had a lot of moments where I've been frustrated and mad and done a lot of the same things they've done, but the best thing I can try to do is calm down, talk to them, and let them know that every game's a new game, and just because you went 0 for 3, 0 for 4 today doesn't mean the next game you won't go 2 for 3, 2 for 4, and have a good game. So it's just part of baseball. It's a new game, every game you play, and you never know what you're going to get.
Okay, what Major League Baseball player do you look up to, and why?
Well, to be honest, I don't really watch a lot of the Major League. I really watch mostly college baseball, but any player, I mean, from Tennessee last year, you watched that national championship team. The one that stuck out most to me was Hunter Inslee. At the start of the year, he was struggling swinging the bat, and there was a lot of times where he faced criticism, where he had fans and other people talking about how they should take him out of the lineup. And then he gets in the big Florida series, and he comes up big, and now everybody loves it. So that's part of the game, I mean. But Hunter Inslee, his leadership, that's something to inspire to.
Okay, when you're not at practice, do you do little drills or practice somehow at the house or wherever?
Well, I don't really get a lot of work in at the house, and a lot of times I'm busy with other things. But if there's a Saturday or a weekend or a weekday that I can come in to the field and just get some swings in or do some work out there with somebody else that's on the team, I'll try to do that. I'll take the most advantage of that opportunity that I can get.
Is that probably one of the problems, or with young players today, that they don't have time? They're burning the candles on both ends. You're busy. Is that part of the problem you see?
I mean, yeah, that's definitely a problem, because a lot of times with basketball and baseball, it's hard to juggle them. When you have basketball practices and games every day, it's hard to, in the off season, come in and put work in for baseball, which is your next sport. But I mean, whatever sport you're playing that's in season, that's your primary focus, and it's hard to kind of try to fit in another sport into that because you have a lot going on. But I mean, yeah, it's definitely got to be stressful, but when you can get work in because it helps.
Okay, what's your idea of a successful season this year?
My idea of a successful season this year, I think last year I mean, like Coach said, we were very inexperienced, and that was my first year starting every game for the team, and I had to grow up quick because freshman and sophomore year I didn't play a ton. I expected to come in junior year and just be the guy, but that's not how baseball works. You're not just going to come in and be the guy right off the bat, but you know, you have to put the work in. It's a very humbling game because
It is.
a lot of times, I mean, you think you're going to be the guy, and then it's not going your way, and you're like, you realize it. And you just have to put the team first and whatever they need, and that's what I'm starting to do now and what I have been doing.
Okay, just a couple more questions. Name a few players on the team to watch this year.
A few players on the team to watch this year. I'd say Garrett Kiter for sure. He's a very good baseball player, and he's still young.
He's a great athlete.
He's a great athlete. He can
All the
do
way around.
anything, and he's still young. He's very good on the mound for us. He'll be our primary pitcher this year. High velocity, good accuracy, good control, and he's just a very good baseball player. He can hit the ball too. But outside of him, I'd say Samuel Wilson. He's definitely a solid piece for us with the bat and with the glove. I mean, in the scrimmage games, he's put some solid contact on the ball for the first couple, and that's been something to look at. And a couple other players, we have a couple freshmen that are starting for us. Emery Kiter, which is Garrett's little brother, and Noah Burke, and they're struggling at times swinging the bat, and that happens because middle school and high school pitching is completely different. So, and when you get out there on the field, if you make a mistake, it's hard to. When you're young, you feel the pressure of that because especially if you're in a starting role early. But they'll grow and they'll develop. They're good baseball players, and they've been playing their whole lives too. So it'll come around for them.
All right. Talk about the fun of baseball and tell me about one of your favorite moments.
Fun of baseball. Well, I mean, I can't really think of a time that growing up I didn't have a ball in my hand of some sort, whether it was baseball, basketball, or football. But baseball's definitely been my favorite sport that I played, considering it was the first one I started back in T-ball. And my parents have put in a lot of work to get me to games and practices and things like that. And I know it's stressful on them, but it's made some of the funnest moments in my life because, I mean, baseball, I've made a lot of friendships and I've continued to grow in the game, and that's what's just so fun about it. It's because even if you're having a bad game, you come right out the next week or next game and you just knock the cover off the ball, and that's one of the best moments you can have right there. It's just a momentum swing. It can be up or down. You can't let it get you down. It's the thing.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Once again, thank you, Coach, for coming out, and Hunter. Need to do some business here. We'd like to thank Rex with the Sports Center and our premier partners, Whitaker Insurance, Pharmacy RX, New Tazewell, Tennessee, J&S Concrete Pumping, Stay and Play Doggy Daycare, our team of marketing partners, and of course First Century Bank for providing our communications. Anything you want to say?
Yeah, one thing before we go. Just looking at the schedule, and you guys got a tough district. I mean, it is what it is. But now I see a lot of winnable games on here. I don't think you're going to have trouble winning 10 games. But you want to tell everybody where they can find your schedule, and where people give people some information about how to get out and watch these kids play.
Yeah.
If you want to help our baseball team, the best thing to do is just come to a game. Come to a game, be there, support the kids, buy a hot dog at the concession stands. As far as our schedules, they're posted online. We are doing these schedule discount cards. You can find any player, buy one off a player, or if you're just out in town, you can stop at Next Level Motorsports. Justin Erie up there is our assistant coach, and he keeps them on his desk. It's that way if you just need to find one and can't find a player, that's the place to go. But the boys, they enjoy having big crowds at their game. I think it makes them play better. I think it makes them feel more important. So, it's one thing we want to have is crowds at our baseball games.
Cost of admission to games.
Pretty sure it's going to be $7 this year and $3 for kids.
And you guys kind of rely on that because you got to pay the umps. quite a bit of money.
We've got to make so much to break even every night. So.
Right, yeah, so it's not only for the kids enjoying having the crowd out there to watch them, but, and you kind of gotta have that to just break even at the end of the night.
All right, anything else?
No, sir.
Have a good season.
Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, and we'll see you next time, and may God bless.
I appreciate it, guys.
Well, good job, Hunter.
Yes.
Dude, I am totally impressed. I knew he'd be the man.
No problem. I
He's
ain't got no
got a
problem
face
talking.
for TV.
Got the voice for